To the early 1990s, the United States was engaged in a Cold War with the Soviet Union.
Now, the two sides never engaged directly in battle, but both prepared by building huge armed forces, including massive nuclear arsenals. Underground silos housing intercontinental ballistic missiles were built around the country to give the U.S. first strike or retaliatory capability.
Some of those missile silos were built here in our region. Kelly O'Brien takes you inside one and shows you how it's being used now.
Tucked away in the town of Lewis is a Cold War secret. A 1961 missile silo is still intact, and we got an inside look.
In the early 1960s, 12 missile silos were built around northern New York and Vermont, ready to launch nuclear warheads in case of a Soviet first strike.
They knew it was going to be targeted. They wanted to have a place with the proper terrain and proper geology to plant it and proper location on the planet, but they didn't want it close to a major population center because they knew it was a primary target.
In Lewis, the missile housed in the 190-foot silo stayed dormant for its 5 active years, staffed 24/7 by a crew of missileers ready with keys in hand if the order came to launch.
It was a completely different type of stress that they would have had at the time, knowing that their families were literally on the front lines with them. So here's the main entry to the silo.
At the time of its operation in the early 60s, Hopmeyer says it was the most modern facility of its kind, designed to withstand a powerful direct impact and keep out potential foreign invaders.
And the wall is flattened off here. This was designed to be able to allow defenders to protect from anybody who was trying to invade.
As you make your way below ground, the temperature stays between 55 and 63 degrees, a chilly temperature for the airmen that staffed the silo until 1965, when it was decommissioned and the missiles were sent back and repurposed to launch satellite.
This is the Launch Control Center.
Since the government sold the land, it's had different owners over the years.
Come on, and we'll go ahead and head on down.
But the current owner is Mike Hopmeyer.
I've done counter and anti-terrorism, combat casualty and trauma care.
He's a mechanical engineer with a long resume in national security.
I'm a senior advisor at the World Health Organization, so I've done a lot of different things. There used to be a missile sitting here.
He bought the property in 2015 to run his business, Unconventional Concepts Incorporated.
We do testing on materials. We look at the effects of different types of propellant on different types of steels and cladding and coating. We do remote sensing and diagnostics and evaluate the ability to do standoff detection of different systems.
He works as a national security consultant for different agencies within the government. The missile silo will be used as a testing site, particularly helpful when it comes to bomb damage assessment.
The idea was that if we had a hard and deeply buried target, for example, Saddam Hussein's bunker, we might drop a bomb on it and we might see a cloud of smoke come up off the ground or detect a blast underground, but we could never be sure if that blast was inside the bunker or outside.
He's found other uses for the facility too, both above and below ground, for different kinds of research. There's a lot of climbing involved to get to the bottom of the silo 195 feet down. Most of the equipment used to operate the missile silo remains, but it wouldn't be useful today.
What's remarkable is all of the computing power that you see here today is probably less than what I have in my watch.
This is a part of North Country history, so to give back...
Right here, this bare paint spot used to be the key vault.
He donated the keys to the Plattsburgh Air Force Museum, the launch control pad, all of the information, documents, and data that lived underground the last 60 years to remind people of the courage, the strength, the honor the missileers today and before us had to keep this country safe.
And not only that, they were willing, if they were ordered to defend the country, to kill 4 or 5 or 20 million people, not because they wanted to, but because that was the only way that we saw that we could defend this nation. So if there's one message to come across, yeah, a missile silo is cool, but it's nothing compared to the men and women who staff them today.
Now, I know how cool it was to see inside, but as a reminder, this is private property and it is not open to the public. In Lewis, Kelly O'Brien, Channel 3 News.